Alright folks, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. It's good to see you back on business today. Got two fresh tournaments. We've got the Qatar Open. We've also got the Rio Open. Should be very interesting indeed. Only a couple of games in each one. It is the first day of the first round, and before we get started, I say it every time, I'll just say it again for those that are new. It is the first round. You know, we've got to figure out who wants to be here and who doesn't, so keep it sensible, take it easy, and then we'll start knuckling down deeper into the tournament. So with that being said, I'm going to ask you to like the video if you would, get yourself subscribed if you're not. We go all year round, every day on the tennis over here, so do yourself a favour, do me the favour as well. I'm going to try and get to, let's call it 450, try and get to 450 by the end of the week. At the rate we're going at, I'd say that's rather doable, so let's see what you can do about that. If you want to support the channel, as always, link is in the description along with the pinned comment. Now that's out the way, let's talk about these games, innit? First off, look, you may have noticed, but the first day over in Rio today is like a challenger slate, so I'm going to leave that to the end, obviously, and then we'll touch on it very briefly, but I'm going to be focusing mainly on Qatar today. So first off, for us, we've got Christopher O'Connell coming up against Habib. Now these haven't played each other before. Habib, you know, getting a wild card into the main draw. I think I read something before. Was he the first Lebanese? That was it. He was the first Lebanese player to win a match in a Grand Slam. Quite the achievement. Quite the achievement. He'll be happy with that. Do you remember him in the Australian Open too? He was fairly decent. Look, he was decent enough. Unexpected, more so. Who did he beat? Was it Boo? I'm pretty sure he beat Boo, and then he got beat by Hugo Humbert, if I remember correctly. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, fairly decent through qualifying. Patrick Gibson, straight sets. Sengen, straight sets. I still don't know how to pronounce his name. Is it Shidech or I don't know. You know what I mean. We seen him the other day. Beat him. Yeah, he beat Boo in straight sets 1, 2, 3, and then obviously beat by Hugo Humbert. Didn't stand a chance against him. And then he's just been beat by Gonzalo Bueno in the Davis Cup. Christopher O'Connell has looked fairly decent in qualifying. He got past Watanuki 2-1. I was just seeing him beat Pavel Kotov in straight sets, so he has got a couple of games in the bag on the surface already. It's a weird one, isn't it? Like a wild card qualifier. I feel like, you know, as a wild card, you'd probably be rather pleased with drawing an unseeded opponent in the first round. It probably doesn't get better than that for you, but I feel like Habib, with this opponent being Christopher O'Connell, he can be very, very good on the hard court. Let me rephrase: he is very good on the hard court. You remember there was a stint over the period of time last season where he was arguably one of the most informed hardcore players on the tour. Really, really good. Just never sure which version of him's going to turn up. Like I say, I didn't expect Habib to do anything in that Australian Open, but getting past Boo, I've got to tip my cap to him and say, like, I didn't think he stood a chance against Boo, and he did. Obviously, there was no way he was getting past Hugo Humbert, but I feel like if you can beat Boo on the hard court, you stand a very good chance at beating Christopher O'Connell. Do you not agree? There's no doubt Christopher O'Connell's more experienced, a little bit more seasoned at this level, obviously. I'm not too sure, you know, I mean, there's no doubt Habib's gathered himself a little bit of a following since the Australian Open, especially with it being over in Doha as well. It is the first round, so I'm not too sure how big the crowd will be, but you know, I imagine he'll have some people there making some noise for him. Will it be enough? Not too sure. I imagine you would have to go with Christopher O'Connell. Me personally, I think Christopher O'Connell beats him. Maybe only just. I'm not too sure. Maybe we need to watch out betting against Habib over in Doha. I don't know. But we shall see. I think Christopher O'Connell gets it done. It should be it could be a close one. I'm expecting Habib's going to at least make it competitive. while he's here, why the fuck not? You're going to at least try, aren't you? Yeah. I just don't really see a world where Habib beats Christopher O'Connell. If the correct version of O'Connell turns up, I mean, but like I said, we'll see about that one. It'd be O'Connell or nothing if I was taking it. He's what? What are the odds for that one? Didn't even mention it. He's a big favourite, 1.3. Maybe not. I mean, I think he's going to win. I'm not that sure. I'm not 1.3 sure that he gets this one done. So, like I said at the start, first round, just wait and see. Just wait and see. But we'll move on to one of the two of my favourite ones for today. First one being Grigor Dimitrov against Yuri Lehecka. Now the head-to-head is 3-1 to Yuri Lehecka. We've seen him win the last 3 meetings in this spot. Getting Lehecka around 1.75, something like that. That's fair. I like it. I like it. Now, for those that have followed the channel for a while, you'll know it's no secret to you. Dimitrov has been one of, if not my favourite players to watch over the years. Fantastic. With that being said, I do know where to stand with him. I really do. I feel hasn't really had. He's been decent enough to start the year, but he hasn't really beat anyone. As he like let's face it, he hasn't beat anyone where you'd go, oh, that was a good one. He beat Yannick Hanfman, Alexander Vukic, Jordan Thompson. He had to pull out. He had to retire against Jordan Thompson. Also played Yuri Lehecka in Brisbane. Had to pull out in that one. Lehecka won that title. And then he also pulled out against Francesco Pesaro in the Australian Open. Now that is the 4th retirement for Grigor Dimitrov since Wimbledon last year. Cause for concern? I would think so. I mean, look, let's call it for what it is. He's no spring chicken anymore, is he? He's not. He's no spring chicken anymore. And I hope I'm wrong, but I feel like once you start, is it his groin? Is it his hamstring or his groin? I think you're picking up like groin injuries all the time. Pretty much the same one 4 times since Wimbledon as well. I feel like at this point in your career, something like that is not going to get better. It's not going to get better, is it? Now, I trust in Dimitrov as an athlete. I've got no question about that whatsoever. In my opinion, given his age, I feel like he's one of the very few that's still able to navigate a tennis court just as well, if not better, than people who are like 10 years younger than him. He's still very agile, he can move. But you have to admit his fitness has been getting the better of him as of late. Yuri Lehecka, every time we've spoke, what do I say about Lehecka? What have I said about him all season? Just fantastic. Brilliant. You know what you're going to get from him on his day, providing he's fit. And big emphasis on that day, providing he's fit, because even though Dimitrov's been pulling out, and the last time we seen him, he had to shake the hand. Last time we seen Yuri Lehecka was against Hubert Hurkacz in Rotterdam, and he had to do the exact same thing. Albeit, I don't think, was it a leg issue or muscle? I don't know. It was a very minor issue, to the point where I'm fairly certain he's good to go now. To the very minor setback compared to what Dimitrov's clearly dealing with. I mean, dropping sets to Francesco Pesaro. I'm not taking nothing away from the guy, but come on, you just know something's not right with Dimi at the moment. Lehecka, apart from the game against Hurkacz where he had to retire, has still only been beaten by Djokovic so far this season. He's just beat loads, and he's beat everyone basically. He's literally beat everyone. Looks so good doing it. I'll mention a couple of them: Dimitrov, Apelka, Hugo Gaston, Benjamin Bonzi, Alexei Popyrin. So, beating everyone you'd expect him to beat. As much as it kills me to admit it, but I think he's going to beat Grigor Dimitrov as well. He's beat him the last 3 times. Why wouldn't he beat him now? I don't like Dimitrov's. He can still operate at a very, very high level. He's still, on his day, a lot better than the majority on the tour. You've got to give him that. Can you trust the fitness? Can you trust the fitness? Because I feel like, after Brisbane with Jordan Thompson, he'd have played Lehecka and you thought, yeah, he's good to go. No, pulled out again. And then in the Australian Open, I thought he wouldn't be there unless he was good to go. No, got through a set, got broke again, pulled out. I think given the severity of the injuries of the pair of them, from what we've seen last time out, I would have to assume that Yuri Lehecka will be in better shape in this match. I feel like it's not going to be easy because it never is with Dimitrov, but one, will Dimitrov even make it through the match? I'm not so sure. Two, he's clearly not 100%. He's clearly not. And I don't trust that he's 100% to go. He may be, but it may be a case of, I don't want to say just having to be here, because it's, if he couldn't play, he's not going to be here. But let's just not overthink it. I think Yuri Lehecka gets this one done. 1.7, I mean, this is very, very close on the odds. I say it's been close enough that the last few times they've played, a set drop here, a set drop there. Ultimately, Yuri Lehecka has proven to be the better player in the last 3 times. And I don't know about you, but I think Yuri Lehecka's only gotten better. And I think he continues to get better and better as the seasons go on. And it's a shame that I can't say the same no more for Grigor Dimitrov. So I'd be looking at Lehecka to win that one. I feel like Lehecka to win at least a set is a perfect parlay piece around 1.3. That should be easy. No question about it. He should be good for at least one set. Let me know what you think. But we'll move on to Fabian Marozsan and Aziz Dougaz. Gotta be Fabian Marozsan. This is 1.1. He is. That's crazy seeing that. Dougaz, a bit like Habib, had a fairly decent qualifying in the Australian Open, but pretty much as soon as he got to the main draw, it just all came crumbling down. What are you going to do? 1-1 in his last 7 games. Also received a wild card for this. Look, Fabian Marozsan, any other time, any other tournament, any other match, we always say about the inconsistency, and we never know what we're going to get, but what we do know is when the going's good, Fabian Marozsan is very, very good, and he is very, very hard to beat. I feel like Aziz will definitely struggle with someone like Fabian Marozsan. I mean, say what you want about the ranks, but I feel like it'll definitely show in this one. I do. As inconsistent as he can be, he can also be extremely versatile, and I just think he's got a lot more in the bag compared to his opponents, so you can take that one however you will. I don't know how. Spread, straight sets, be my Christopher guest. I think Fabian Marozsan absolutely pastes him. We've then got Carlos Alcaraz, Marin Cilic. Once again, massive favourite here again. 1.05 for Alcaraz, 3-1 on the head-to-head. Funnily enough, I forgot to mention this, but now Jannik Sinner's out for a couple of months. I feel like this is prime time for Carlos Alcaraz to just start winning every game. I'm not saying he's going to finish at number 1 at the end of the world. He probably won't, but if you're going to stake your claim to it, now's probably the time to start doing it. Am I wrong? Probably not. Look, it's Carlos Alcaraz, isn't it? It's Carlos Alcaraz. Even when he doesn't play good, it's not long before he does again. So it's, what do you want me to say about him? He looked really good in Rotterdam the other week. I think this is his first time playing over here. I think it is. Marin Cilic, for those that have watched tennis for quite some time, like, you don't need me to talk about this guy. He's been around for ages, and I feel like not even just as of late, especially like towards the latter stages, definitely been hampered with some injuries, and I mean, fitness has most definitely not been this guy's friend. With that being said, he can still be crafty. There's a lot of players like this on the tour that they're still not done, are they? They've still got something there. Excuse me. I'm dying over here. Last few times they've played, I imagine they've been fairly close. Cilic is like that. 2022 US Open 3-2 to Alcaraz. Cincinnati 2-0. Tiebreaker 6-1. 6-4, 6-4. Like, he's a decent player. He always has been a decent player. Not too good as of late, I will admit. Just been beat by Lehecka in Belgrade last time out. That was in November the start of November last year, so quite some time out. I don't know why I'm bothering. I really don't. I don't know how you're going to take it. 5.5 games, as I always say, is a lot of games, and I don't care who you are. But if you're going to back that for any player, it's probably going to be Carlos Alcaraz. I think I'd just take the points with him. Adelaide number there, -5.5. Anyone? Well, 6-3, 6-3, 6-3, 6-2. I don't know. Cilic had a couple months off. Like, I wouldn't put it past them to cover that 5.5. So I'm just going to stay away. I'm going to move on to this one. Got Alexei Popyrin, Jack Draper. Never played each other before. Jack Draper, quite a decent favourite according to the bookies. 1.5. That's what I've got him at here anyway. 1.47. We'll call it 1.5. It's tough watching Draper last time out in the Australian Open, where it was just, it's not fair, man, is it? He struggled through every game. He weren't in good shape whatsoever. Is it his hip? Was it his hip? Is he turning into Andy Murray? Fucking hell, I hope not. I can't remember what it was. There was definitely something that he's been struggling with. I mean, 3-2 against Navone, same against Kokkinakis, same against Vukic. I mean, clearly there's a problem with Jack Draper there, and then he didn't even get through the match against Alcaraz, which we predicted anyway. Now, I'm 99.9% certain Jack Draper is fit to go here. I really am. I think he's good to go. I do. From what I've seen and from what I gather, he is not. He's not struggling with that injury anymore. Alexei Popyrin. This is a rough one, innit? This is a rough one. Like, I think Jack Draper beats him. I do. Even a banged up Jack Draper, Australian Open Jack Draper, would beat this version of Alexei Popyrin. He's just formless, innit? Bang out of form. No form whatsoever. Zero. Couldn't get past Yuri Lehecka, and I don't blame him really, because Lehecka's been a bit of a beast, as we've mentioned. Got beat by Corentin Moutet in the Australian Open first round. Very, very disappointing, if you'd ask me. And then the game against Matteo Arnaldi, first game of the season, over in Brisbane, in Australia again. Lost both of them. And, touching on towards the end of last season, he weren't doing too great either. He most definitely had this one off. He peaked, didn't he? Remember in the Cincinnati Masters, remember he just smoked everyone. You should remember, I remember it like it was yesterday. He won all 6 games. He was an underdog for 5 of the 6. And pretty much everyone he beat was a really good player. Who did he beat off the top? I know he beat Rublev in the final. He beat like Thomas Mahach. He beat like Dimitrov or someone. Yeah. Sebastian Korda. He fucked everyone up. And I thought that was going to be the beginning for him. I imagine we all did, but safe to say he has really, really struggled to recapture that sort of form ever since. 3 wins in his last 10, dating back to Tokyo last year. Now, Tokyo is in September, is it? Yeah, I think it's in September. 1 against Kekmanovic in Shanghai. 1 against Berrettini in Paris in October. 1 against Daniel Medvedev in Paris last year. Hasn't won a game since. I think Jack Draper's good to go. I do. Now, I know last week was the week of the dogs, weren't it? We've seen a lot of people who've been playing shit and struggling, sort of not get into form, but most definitely snap that shitter that they were on. Anything is possible. Am I saying Alexei Popyrin doesn't stand a chance against Jack Draper? No, I'm not. Absolutely not. This version of Alexei Popyrin that we have seen so far this season is going to have such a hard time to beat Jack Draper. That's all I'm saying. If he's going to all of a sudden just snap into form and come out of all that shit that he's in now, I think it's one hell of an ask to do it against someone like Jack Draper, who, let's not forget, solid top 20. He's actually 15th in the world, and I told you all last season that he'd be in the top 20, and you'd all fucking laughed at me. Well, not all of yous, but if any of yous are still around from back then, yous will remember it. Now look where he is. Alexei Popyrin 26th in the world, but he's most definitely not playing like that. I'll be definitely going with Jack Draper if I was betting that. 100%. 1.5 all day. Sweet as a nut, don't worry about it. I'd imagine he gets past Alexei Popyrin, especially while he's playing like this. And then, we're on 20 minutes already. Well, like I mentioned about Brazil, I did say it was like a challenger slate. If you didn't believe me, well, have a look for yourself. We've got Alexander Shevchenko, Felipe Rodriguez Alves, we've got Gustavo Heidi, Comesaña, Facundo Diaz Acosta, Thiago Monteiro, Jaume Munar, Thiago Sebo Wild. I ask you, what are we doing with them? Don't look at me. What are you doing with them? Because I haven't got a clue. Honest to God, I don't know where to begin there. Tomorrow is looking a lot better. I'll give it that, no doubt. But for today, all these odds are very close. These are pretty much all coin flips, 50-50s, and you pretty much call that yourself anyway without looking at the numbers. I don't know. These all just reside on like the clay challenger tours all year round, don't they? For the most part. Thiago Monteiro, I would never. For those that know, you know, I would never put a penny on Thiago Monteiro, even if it did. Even if it did, you just can never get it right with him. Never get it right with him. He's a slight favourite against Facundo Diaz Acosta, and with it being in Brazil, this is all I'll say for today. It is in Brazil, and these Brazilians will undoubtedly start playing a lot better. That Brazilian crowd is fucking. Look, if you're a Brazilian player, it's amazing. If you are not Brazilian, it is a nightmare to play in that atmosphere. Funnily, actually, no, we'll leave that for tomorrow. But yeah, them Brazilian crowds are serious, mate. They really are. So, food for thought. I'd imagine Sebo Wild will struggle against Jaume Munar. Munar's beaten 4 times before. Like I said, what will the crowd be like? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I won't be touching any of them games. And I don't think anyone's bothered that I'm just sort of skipping them and glossing over them. So, as always, folks, if you've got anything for the clay tournament, please do let me know. I'd appreciate you sharing with the group. So it's a bunch of stinkers, innit? Bunch of stinkers. We'll try our hand on the next day. Very well. I'll be saying good night to you then, folks. Yeah. Take care of yourself. Take care of one another. Appreciate you stopping by and taking the time to watch the videos. As always, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Trying to get to 450 by Friday or Saturday, Sunday, whenever, by the end of next week. Let's see what we can do. Alright then. Let's go get that cash today. Enjoy the tennis. See you tomorrow.